Oh, so the title of my talk today is From Resistance to Practice. Okay? From resistance to practice. Now, the funny part of this is that I sent it to Lori to do, and she thought I wrote resistance to practice. Get it? So she thought my talk was going to be about how we have resistance to practicing things in life, right? But the talk really is from resistance to practice. But when she sent it back to me the first time, I went, well, that works too. They both work. So I have a video for you guys to watch today. Oh, no, let me start here. Yeah. I usually get them right there, and I'm like, well, I'm trying to look down here. It's right there. So what do we believe at this center? Karen Wright, what do we believe? Well, that's on the wall. Yeah. Okay, good. Judd, what do we believe? Give me some precepts, some things that we actually believe here. Okay, good. Okay. Oh, you want to answer that, Liz? I love hands are going up. Go ahead, Liz. Ah, do we believe in oneness? Do we teach oneness here? Yes. Thank you, Liz. What else? Yes, Anthony. Do we believe in that? Okay, God is everywhere. Change your thinking, change your life. Yes? Liz? Ah, we are all God. Rachel, what do we teach here? I know you don't live here anymore, but what did we teach when you were last here? Acceptance, openness, yes, good. Receptivity, good. Glenda? Right where God is, I am. Okay, so it's interesting. So in religious science, we teach two things. We teach divine principle. Actually, we teach one thing, divine principle. But it covers both areas. So what we teach is the divinity of mankind, meaning that you are the divine. That's the one part. And then the other part is, and you live your life based on the law of cause and effect. So divine principle is, we are, Tiffany, what is the divine principle? Did you all hear that? I'm going to repeat it correctly for the audience. Um, the only word that we don't use is divine. Yeah, you got it. But we are spiritual beings. You all good with that? So you're not just this human being having this human existence where you struggle and this, that, and the other thing, but you are spiritual beings. Everything about you is spiritual, is divine. We are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe. So that means that this universe is governed by spiritual laws, and that spiritual law is the law of, that's it. That is all we teach. We're spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe governed by our use of a spiritual law, the law of cause and effect. So it is about the way you use this law. So I have a few quotes for you today. Carl Sagan, the cosmos is within us. We are made of star stuff. So Carl Sagan, without going into religiosity or anything even, well, he is very spiritual, was a very spiritual man, but not religion. But he basically says, we are all one thing. We are all made of the same stuff. We are star stuff, right? Okay, next, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Mind is the universal principle present in all things. You have a mind. You have a mind that you can use to do anything. Your mind is creative. And as Ralph Waldo Emerson says, it's the universal principle of life. And it's present in everything. This quantum field is a creative, energized field of pure intelligence. And that's what you are. And Ernest Holmes would call that mind. You are mind. Okay? David Bohm, who is a physicist, a nuclear physicist, says the universe is a single undivided whole in flowing movement. Now, I am not going anywhere political, but I will say it's been a very moving week, couple of weeks. There's been a lot of movement in our country, in the world itself. And I get a lot of calls, and I get a lot of people asking me, how do I navigate this world we're living in right now? How do I love only? And the question was put to me yesterday, where's the line between love only and being complicit? I will be answering that at the top of February, so you're going to have to wait. But that's what we'll start with in the month of February. But going back to this, there is a flowing movement that we call life. We're all a part of it. So the universal flow is constantly changing. And I believe my life is unfolding perfectly and unfolding perfectly, constantly evolving, the evolutionary movement of life. So that's actually very comforting to me. We may not like something that happens in this universal, in this flowing movement of life, but just take a breath, because it's going to flow more. It's going to move again and again and again. And the thing is, are you comfortable with the movement of life? Which doesn't mean you don't get to have a voice and speak your voice and speak what you believe, but from love only. Everybody get that? So this is also what we believe. This is what we teach here. So the title of my talk is From Resistance to Practice. So I have a video for you to watch, and I am going to know that this works. Can we turn all the lights down so that we can see this a little better? Where is it? There it goes. Okay. Yeah, it's on. Of course. Thank you.
Mastering any physical skill, be it performing a pirouette, playing an instrument, or throwing a baseball, takes practice. Practice is the repetition of an action with the goal of improvement, and it helps us perform with more ease, speed, and confidence. So what does practice do in our brains to make us better at things? Our brains have two kinds of neural tissue, gray matter and white matter. The gray matter processes information in the brain, directing signals and sensory stimuli to nerve cells, while white matter is mostly made up of fatty tissue and nerve fibers. In order for our bodies to move, information needs to travel from the brain's gray matter down the spinal cord through a chain of nerve fibers called axons to our muscles. So how does practice or repetition affect the inner workings of our brains? The axons that exist in the white matter are wrapped with a fatty substance called myelin, and it's this myelin covering, or sheath, that seems to change with practice. Myelin is similar to insulation on electrical cables. It prevents energy loss from electrical signals that the brain uses, moving them more efficiently along neural pathways. Some recent studies in mice suggest that the repetition of a physical motion increases the layers of myelin sheath that insulates the axons. And the more layers, the greater the insulation around the axon chains, forming a sort of superhighway for information connecting your brain to your muscles. So while many athletes and performers attribute their successes to muscle memory, Muscles themselves don't really have memory. Rather, it may be the myelination of neural pathways that give these athletes and performers their edge with faster and more efficient neural pathways. There are many theories that attempt to quantify the number of hours, days, and even years of practice that it takes to master a skill. While we don't yet have a magic number, we do know that mastery isn't simply about the amount of hours of practice. It's also the quality and effectiveness of that practice. Effective practice is consistent, intensely focused, and targets content or weaknesses that lie at the edge of one's current abilities. So if effective practice is the key, how can we get the most out of our practice time? Try these tips. Focus on the task at hand. Minimize potential distractions by turning off the computer or TV and putting your cell phone on airplane mode. In one study, researchers observed 260 students studying. On average, those students were able to stay on task for only 6 minutes at a time. Laptops, smartphones, and particularly Facebook were the root of most distractions. Start out slowly or in slow motion. Coordination is built with repetitions, whether correct or incorrect. If you gradually increase the speed of the quality repetitions, you have a better chance of doing them correctly. Next, frequent repetitions with allotted breaks are common practice habits of elite performers. Studies have shown that many top athletes, musicians, and dancers spend 50 to 60 hours per week on activities related to their craft. Many divide their time used for effective practice into multiple daily practice sessions of limited duration. And finally, practice in your brain in vivid detail. It's a bit surprising, but a number of studies suggest that once a physical motion has been established, it can be reinforced just by imagining it. In one study, 144 basketball players were divided into 2 groups. Group A physically practiced one-handed free throws, while Group B only mentally practiced them. When they were tested at the end of the 2-week experiment, the intermediate and experienced players in both groups had improved by nearly the same amount. As scientists get closer to unraveling the secrets of our brains, our understanding of effective practice will only improve. In the meantime, effective practice is the best way we have of pushing our individual limits, achieving new heights, and maximizing our potential.
So, what'd you think? Interesting, right? So, part of what we do here is teach quantum metaphysics. And so I'm constantly doing research on what is the brain doing. The brain, we give the brain a lot of credit, but the brain's being used by your mind. You get to use the brain to create the things you want. And this idea of myelons, the sheath that helps the neural pathways stay intact. Your neural pathway, I used to explain it this way in the earlier days before I understood it even, that a neural pathway is that pathway in your brain from the idea to the demonstration of the idea. What it takes to get from the idea, the thought, to the demonstration. And there's this pathway, and that's what habits are. The more you do a certain thing, the deeper rooted that pathway is. As we understand this now, these myelons are, the more you practice, the more you focus, the more you intentionally do something, the myelons continue to give you a faster route to getting where you want to get to. And I thought about this in terms of when I was first learning how to be a ballet dancer, and we would just be frustrated as hell because they would not let us leave the bar. You're just on the bar for the first year or two, where you're literally just holding on the bar and plie and doing all the stuff they ask you to do at the bar. But that's actually the whole concept. You start at the beginning, you start building on it, and then by the time you build up these myelons and you've got this race car freeway called your neural pathways, then you let go of the bar, and then you jeté across the room. Because I'm sure you've all done that. So, yesterday or 2 days ago, I was on my way to the gym, and who saw my Instagram? Great. Clearly, none of you are on my Instagram, but 5 of you. So that's why I brought it in today, to show you what I put on Instagram, because my team asked me to start putting things on by myself instead of, because they do Instagram posts every day for me. We have a team that's building our presence in the world at Global Truth Center. And so they said, but if you do a single one every day, it would really be nice. So I had an experience going to the gym that was similar to what I just had you look at. And so I did this Instagram. Got a lot of responses from people too. So let me just make sure I have it. Oh. Here we go. Hey everybody, Dr. James here. So you know that moment when you want to do something, but then all the reasons why it would be fun not to do it shows up? So I'm just coming out of the gym, but I had that moment where I was on my way to the gym and I thought, do I really want to go to the gym today? And the answer was no. I really didn't want to go to the gym, but I really did want to go to the gym because that's what I committed to do. So I have a tip for you. I think the best thing to do in those moments is to just do it. Do it now, which is our mission statement at our center. So just do it now. Don't even think about it, because as soon as I start thinking about it and start questioning, well, what's it going to feel like? Maybe if I stay home, I could get some more work done. You know what? When you make a decision, make the decision and just do it. Don't entertain all the yeah buts that show up. So I'm done my workout today, and I am so glad I went. That's my message today. Just do it. Namaste. So aren't you all proud of me? I went to the gym. There you go. So why did I show you? Why did I even make that? Well, because I want to talk to you today briefly about spiritual practice. Okay? So more efficient neural pathways. Here we go. Let me find that. Did this stop working? Maybe. Let's try it again. Stopped working. Great, now I'll have to do this. Oh, totally stopped working. Hold on. This is really helping you all want to give that $12,000, isn't it? Yeah. I expect that person to come to me at the end of service and say, I'm done. Here's a check. Okay, let's try this. Yeah, okay. Now let's see if this works. Yes, good. Okay. So more efficient neural pathways. You already have them. You have lots of neural pathways going on because you've had lots of thoughts, recurring thoughts throughout your life. And those thoughts build up your habits. They build up your core beliefs. The core beliefs create the neural pathways that you then habitually fall into. The question is, how do you create the neural pathways that go work for you? How do you create the very thing you want in your life? And it's all about practice. So my question to you today is, what is your spiritual practice? Do you have a spiritual practice? You don't have to answer me, but answer yourself. Do you have a spiritual practice? And that really means when I was in ballet class, it was every single day, 3 to 5 classes a day. That's how ballet creates ballet dancers, to just constantly be in class. And if I wasn't in class, as it said in the video, I'd be stretching. If I was watching TV, I'd watch it in a straddle to keep my legs, to keep them stretched. I don't do that now, but I used to. It's all about, what are you willing to put the time and energy into? Because if I were to say to you, I could give you the one thing that you could do that would assure you of having anything you wanted in life, wouldn't you do it? If I were to say to you, I can handle every one of your issues. I can handle your health issues. I can handle your financial issues. When people have problems with finances and they're constantly living in lack, constantly challenged with finances, do you know why that is? Because they have created neural pathways of lack that they live in, that consistently fall back into. because that's the sheath that has been created to give them the momentum to create lives of lack. The only way to turn that around in this brand new year is to create a different neural pathway. Because the more you get out of this path and stop growing it, and the more you step into this path of prosperity and start growing it, that's what changes it. And I'm talking purely on a biological level, your brain. The way you use your brain is really what's going to change your life. We can be all spiritual about it and say, change your thinking, change your life. And that's true. If you change your thinking, you'll change your life. But you know why you can't change your thinking? Because you have beliefs that create the thoughts that you're thinking. And you've got to get to the beliefs in order to think different thoughts. You cannot think different thoughts and hold on to beliefs. You can't think prosperous thoughts and hold on to beliefs of lack. You can pretend to, you can say it, you can do the affirmations, you can go to classes and listen to it all, but if you have not moved that belief, that's where that neural pathway is. So one of the things he said, I can give you a tip. He said, effective practice is consistent, intensely focused, and targeted. Consistent. So I did not want to go to the gym. I really didn't. I felt tired. I thought, but here's the thing. I made a decision to really go to the gym every day that I'm supposed to go to the gym in 2026. So that decision, that intention that I made trumped, sorry, but I'm going to use that word, trumped my feeling of not wanting to go. Because I made the decision, I was already set up to do what I said I was going to do, even though I didn't want to do it. Now, what would have happened if I decided to stay home and help Kevin pack? He'd have been happy.
And not on the edge.
And not on the edge. Well, I'll tell you what would have happened. I'd have built the neural pathway that says you don't have to do it. I'd have built the neural pathway that just allows me to not create what I want. But since I did go to the gym, I'm still building the neural pathway that says, this is your road to health. This is your road to vibrant energy. So I hope you're getting what I'm saying here today, which is that you are in charge of creating the very neural pathways, the very philosophical thinking that will change your life. But you can't do it unless you are really focused on spiritual practice. So that's the consistent thing. Intensely focused means that you stay focused on it. You don't let your mind shift over to here. Yeah, but. All those yeah, buts. How many of you have yeah, buts? You all do. So we all have yeah, buts. It's like, yeah, but I could do this instead. Yeah, but this always feels better. Yeah, but blah, blah, blah. We got to get rid of those if we're going to really stay intensely focused and then targeted. You know what you need to do to make your life better, don't you? Don't you all know that? If you're someone who works on body issues, let's say you're working on weight loss, you know what not to eat. You know what to do. You really do know what to do. But do you do it? Not all the time. Maybe hardly ever, which is why you'll just stay in that issue for the rest of your life. So it is about targeting, what do you need to do? For me, one of the things I need to do, and I can target this, is that when I want to not do something, do it anyway, which is why I got to the end of that video. Just do it. Just do it. Do it now. And where's Liza? I did have to laugh because as I was talking and I couldn't remember if it was vision or mission statement, and I instantly thought of Liza. I was like, oh my God, that's why Liza gets confused, because it's confusing, but I got it. But you see that pause? I was like, mission statement, yeah. I almost redid it for that, but then I thought it'd be funny to leave it in. So the whole concept is, can you create a substantial, dynamic spiritual practice that keeps you on track? When our daughter passed 7 years ago, people were very complimentary to me, and still are, at how I handled it and how we moved through it. The worst thing you could ever imagine is losing a child. And I will tell you The only reason I moved through it, we moved through it, is because I was prayed up. I had a very prayed up. It's a very Baptist sentence. But I was prayed up. I had a very strong spiritual practice. I understood what was going on and how to maneuver through it, how to manage myself through it. Was I sad? Was I depressed? Was I really, I didn't get that angry, but all of the above. I had all the feelings, all of the emotions, but underneath it was the truth, a spiritual truth that moved me through it. That's what I'm talking about today. Creating a dynamic spiritual practice so profoundly solid that nothing can throw you off it. Your finances will totally turn around. Your health will turn around. I remember when I had stage 4 cancer and I refused to lose my hair. I was very clear. I will take all the indignations you give me. I will not lose my hair because I just can't imagine what I look like without my hair. And it was very ego-based, but I was clear. I'm not losing my hair. And my doctor was like, I'm going to be clear. You're losing your hair. You're getting the harshest chemo we have. You will lose your hair. You should shave it off now so it doesn't freak you out. I was like, I'm never losing my hair. It's not happening. Well, I never lost my hair. I'd show up each week and she'd be like, I don't get it. I'll go, well, you're not in my head. I am not losing my hair. I'm very clear. And then at the end, when it was all over, she told me how amazing. She said, we all talk about you. You're like the miracle child that never lost his hair. She goes, I wish you had been that clear about nausea. And I was like, yeah, I bought the nausea thing instantly. Yeah, I've never fought that back. So targeted, figure out what's your issue. What do you really need spiritual practice to resolve for you, whatever it is? So Aristotle said we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. So this year, you have an opportunity in this a kinder world to create neural pathways that are easy, that are flowing, that are simple, that really reflect what you want in life, and that don't allow you to think outside of that absolute consistent thought. Treatment, Ernest Holmes says, is a definite mental act, the practice of which changes conditions. So when I look at this quote, we teach, Tiffany is in the process of teaching a second-year practitioner class, and it's about spiritual mind treatment. That's the tool we use. But it's not the old-fashioned tool that was taught for years. And by the way, Ernest Holmes never taught spiritual mind treatment. He merely talked about how the mind worked. Someone put that together. Do I spend time now doing step 1 of understanding, recognizing that everything is God, and that step 2, identification, that I am God, and then step 3, that I declare what it is I decide to do, and then step 4, I'm grateful for it, and step 5, I let it go? No. I don't have to do all of those steps anymore. I know I'm God. I know this is one unified field. I know that there is a quantum field of infinite intelligence that creates through me at all times. I just know that. Ernest Holmes said, when you get clear, you will state your truth, and so it will be. That's what spiritual practice gets you to. That place where you don't have to look it up. You actually are it. You know it, but you must practice. I could never have danced the way I danced in New York if I hadn't spent those years at the ballet bar, if I hadn't really practiced what then took me into a flight of dance. So Daniel Siegel said, the brain is shaped by experience, and spiritual practice is experience repeated. So what are you willing to do over and over and over and over and over again? And for me, and for you, it should be experiential, because we need to move beyond the mind and the brain. We need to drop from the critical thinking into the feeling part of this teaching. and experience it more and more and more. The more you experience your oneness, the more you experience who you are, what this whole world is, that's spiritual practice. The more you do that, as it says, spiritual practice is experience repeated. Get yourself to our sound baths. Come and lay here with us for an hour. We're now doing them on Sunday evenings, once a month. Put it in your calendar. Get here. Be on the floor with us while we fill this room with vibration. Make that part of your spiritual practice. Dr. Eric's 9D breath work. Put that as part of your spiritual practice. Whatever moves you, but find what that is and start being moved over and over and over again. Enlightenment is not an event. It is a way of living. You know, part of what I'm really talking about today is, and I just mentioned events to go to, but it's not about the events. It's about your way of living. So let me leave you with this question. What is your way of living? How do you live your life? I mean, think about it. What is your way of living? If someone said to you, how do you live your life? What's your way of living? Mine, I would say, is my mantra for the year is, I want to live a simplified life where I follow my heart in all things. In all things. Something came to me just recently, and I said no, because I knew my heart wasn't in it, even though everyone was telling me it was really good for me to do. But it was about promotion and selling, and my heart wasn't in it. And I knew if I did it, it wouldn't be successful, because my heart wasn't in it. So I just said no. So, what is your way of living? Are you letting the world take you by a string and just drag you around based on what's going on in the world? Or have you made a decision, here's how I live my life, and it's based on my spiritual practice? So, from resistance to practice, I'm going to ask that you just give some thought to the resistance you have and ask yourself, how can I move from my resistance to things to stepping into the practice of doing it? Right now, you're at choice. You get to decide. And you get to decide what works for you. We live in a field of pure creative intelligence. Anything you want, you can have. Better health, better money, better creativity, better relationships, more love. Anything that you really, truly want, you can have, but you have to be grounded enough in this truth, in this understanding of who you are, in order for those neural pathways to open up and be covered so that it just flows. And when you say, and so it is, it is. It's not, and so it could be maybe if I do this possibly tomorrow. So I would like us all to get to the point where we say, and so it is, and it is. Yes? Namaste. Oh, nope, have to keep going. Thank you, thank you, thank you.